सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Passage 49. Bhagavan Martyam va idam shariram Attam mrityuna Tadasya Amutasya Asharirasya Atmanaha Adhishthanam Atto vai Sashariraha Priya Priyabhyam Navai Sasharirasya Sataha Priya Priyayoho Apahatirasti Ashriram Vavasantam Na Priya Priyes Prashataha. Bhagavan, O Indra, Martyam Vaidam Shariram. This body is indeed mortal. This complex of the body, sense organs, mind, intellect, this upadhi, this personality is mortal. Because it is created, and therefore someday it will perish. The body, of course, is most perishable, but even ultimately subtle body will also perish someday. When we will gain moksha, that is when it will perish. This gross body keeps on perishing when the prarabdha is over, but the subtle body continues transmigration from one gross body to the other, depending upon karma, as long as there is ignorance. And therefore, this whole chain of birth and death will not come to an end as long as karma is, and karma is as long as avidya or ignorance is. That is not the point here, but still, even the subtle body also someday come to an end, when hopefully we will gain moksha. Then this subtle body will have no reason to be around. Subtle body is there as long as ignorance is there, and so long there is a need to, so long there are desires, so need to fulfill desires, so need to take other embodiment, all the result of needs. And once the need is over, there is no need, no further chain of birth and death. So then even the subtle body will end in the sense that the various ingredients making up the subtle body will all merge into the sources, and thus there is no more individual subtle body, individual personality. This is how the Upanishad describes Attamrityana, this body-mind complex always is under the grip of death. But the saving grace is that this mortal entity is the seat of the manifestation of the self that is immortal and unembodied asharirasya. Atma doesn't have a body. Atma does not require body. Doesn't have a body. Bodiless. Ashariram sharireshu anavasteshu avastitam. Bodiless means it is formless, attributeless, which means limitless, which means boundless, which means ananta, which means bhuma, that is ananda. So satyam, jnanam, anantam, anantam is equated to ananda. So Atma is asharira, bodiless, formless, limitless, and boundless, and therefore full, complete, therefore ananda. And that limitless ananda swarupa Atma manifests through or manifests in this limited mortal body. Attovai sashariraha priya priyabhyam. And as we said yesterday, unfortunately, we are born with ignorance, and ignorance causes the identification of the body. As you know very well, ignorance has two aspects. One is avarana, meaning that I do not know the true nature of myself. And vikshepa, I take to be the self what I am not. I do not know the true nature of myself, that I am Brahman, I am limitless, I am consciousness, and I take the body, which is not myself, to be the self. That's the killer, the second part, where I take non-self to be the self, that I get identified with non-self. That is when I entertain constantly concept that I am a limited, lacking, wanting being. Sasharira priya priyabhyam attovai. This ignorant person who is identified with the body, therefore thinks of himself as lacking, wanting, needy being. Therefore the world attacks him. Therefore the world creates in him various temptations. Because I am lacking, wanting, that's the reason why world is what it is. But because I am lacking, I am wanting, therefore I look at the world in a certain way that appears to me to be inviting. Or sometimes appears to me as rejecting. No, this is my personal viewpoint. The world attracts me, world rejects me. It is I who by my own perception make the world attractive at a given moment. Next moment I may say world is no good and therefore I may feel it rejects me. This is the problem with one who is limited, lacking, wanting. And therefore always entertaining priya, apriya, raga, dvesha, attachments, aversions. This is the nature of a jivatma, nature of the ignorant person. Navai sarirasya satah priyapiyo apahati hasti. As long as the identification, as the ignorance continues, as long as identification of the body continues, as long as the sense of lack or want or need continues, so long I cannot be free from the influence of pleasant and unpleasant, desirable, undesirable. Understand that it is I who makes it desirable. This lacking, wanting person, whenever he comes in contact with anything, he judges. How do I judge? Favorable, unfavorable, desirable, undesirable, likable, unlikable. Right away, I put a stamp. Like in a post office, that postman, the moment you give him a stamp. So the moment my mind comes in contact with the first thing, it puts a stamp. Anukulam, pratikulam. Desirable, undesirable. We know there is no such thing as desirable. If desirable was the nature of a given thing, everybody would desire. Sweetness is nature of sugar, so everybody experiences sweetness when they experience sugar. But desirable is not the nature of a thing, because then everybody will experience desirability. So desirable, undesirable is purely my subjective view, my subjective projection. This mind keeps on projecting. What is projecting? Sees what is not there. Vedanta gives example of rope snake. See the snake which is not there. See, so also when I come across this object, my mind says likable, desirable, favorable, profitable, worth acquiring, worth possessing, worth enjoying. And when it comes to in contact with this one, which is undesirable, not to be acquired, to be gotten rid of, this poor mind constantly is going through these things. At a moment of peace comes in contact, there immediately starts this process of branding. When it brands, then it reacts. I brand something, then I react, I want it, and then I start doing things to acquire it and enjoy it. I brand something undesirable, then also I want to get rid of it, I don't want it. Where is peace? With ignorance, and thus a tendency to project, there cannot be even a moment of peace in this mind. That is what the Upanishad is giving us. The insight into what is this samsara? And what causes this unhappiness of the mind, the restlessness of the mind, unhappiness of the mind, sadness of the mind. It's quite in order that we do pranayama and various things to quieten the mind. Quite all right. But ultimately, mind will become quiet when the cause of agitation goes away. And cause of agitation is keep on projecting. First projection upon myself. What's the projection? I am lacking, wanting, inadequate being. Because I am the body. I am as good as body, as big as body, as limited, as insignificant as the body. So, poor human being constantly suffers from a sense of insignificance. And I am trying to become significant all the time. Trying to attract attention, trying to be bigger than I am, wealthier than I am, more famous than I am, more powerful than I am in some way. All the time. Trying to become significant. Why? Because I think I am insignificant. So, when will he become significant, God knows. Like this buffalo and like this frog in the well. So there is little frog and the mother frog. So that's the valley is the whole world. That's all the little frog had seen. And mother said, I am the queen of the whole universe. I am the biggest and the most powerful. One day there was rain and flood and that well got flooded and the little frog just jumped out and saw the whole world. Wow! And saw a buffalo, a huge animal. It got scared and immediately jumped back into the well and reported to mother, Mom, I saw something big. Says, what? Very big. Bigger than me? Much bigger than you. So she started stuffing air and trying to, bigger than this? Yes, Mom. Bigger than this? Yes, Mom. Bigger than that? Ultimately, her stomach burst out. How big that frog can be? What should he do to become as big as a buffalo? So human being bigger, significant. And nobody is an exception. From a beggar onwards to President of the United States, we don't need to include, but what I'm saying is, a given person may not be, but generally speaking, everybody is like this only. That is why there is what they call politics. Anyway, so ashariram va vasantam na priya priya sprushataha. One can become free from this influence of priya and apriya, desirable, undesirable, only when one becomes ashariraha. Because asharirasya atmanaha adhishthanam. Atma is a sharira. So we don't have to become a sharira. To recognize that ashariroham, that sharira I am not. That I have taken this body to be myself without any thinking. And I have never ever scrutinized my conclusion about myself. Taken for granted that I am what I take myself to be. And that's how I lead my life. The basic assumption is wrong about who I am. If that basic assumption is wrong, how can the rest of the thing will be right? Even if the method is right. We used to get in our examinations in schools, marks for method. Method is right, so he'll give me 10 out of 100 marks, But otherwise, answer is wrong because the assumption is wrong. You start X equal to, that is where it is wrong. Then even the method is right, the answer will be wrong. Is it not so? In our life, answer is always wrong. Because the first assumption is wrong. That I am Sharira, I am so and so. And that is how then I struggle. It was very tragic. If you stand apart and watch, because we also become one of them, then there is no watching. So this wise person can really watch what's going on. A Shankaracharya can watch. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Moodhamate. You can see how this Moodhamati is struggling with for no reason. So we also stand apart and watch ourselves with the help of what Vedanta teaches. Then we recognize how our life also is based on the assumptions that we have made as to who I am. We do not realize that that is a basic assumption in our life. And therefore Upanishad. Ashariram va vasantam na priya priya sprushataha. Hey Indra, there is a Sharira here which is Martyam. And there is Atma which is Sharira Amrita. So two entities are there here, Sharira and Atma. So Indra thought that Atma died in deep sleep state. What died or disappeared in deep sleep state is the body-mind complex. Indra thought that in deep sleep Atma died. Therefore, Prajapati, the teacher says, hey, it is this body, mind, sense complex, that is mortal. And while that is mortal, Amrutasya, Asharirasya, Atma, simultaneously Atma is a Sharira, Atma is immortal. When something dies, something does not die. Indra thought everything died, everything did not die. What is visible died, but then everything is not visible. What is not visible? Self is not visible. And body is visible. There was no body in the these 5 days. He said, there is nothing. There is nothing. There is something substantial there, and that is what. So this is a very beautiful way if you observe this. In a very interesting way. I mean, the story goes, but how the teaching proceeds. So how a teacher actually says the waker is the Atma, and then through Indra describes the limitations of the waker. Indra thought the reflection is Atma, and if this body becomes blind, that fellow will become blind. If this fellow is a running nose, that will be a running nose, etc., etc. That cannot be Atma. Next time Prajapati says the dreamer is Atma. Good, thank you, sir. Walk away. Dreamer is Atma, but the dreamer sometimes is crying, sometimes is attacked, sometimes is screaming, sometimes people tell him all kinds of unpleasant things, sometimes he dies also. What's the use of the dreamer? What's the use of knowing dreamer is Atma? Third time, sleeper is Atma. Thank you. But the sleeper fellow doesn't know anything. He neither knows himself nor knows anything other than himself. He just doesn't know anything. Now, when do you say somebody is, by the way? When do you say I am? When I know something. When I am aware of something, then I can say I am. The deep sleep stage, this fellow is not aware of himself, not aware of anything, so he is not there. You see the equation here. What is the equation? I am there if I am aware. I am not there if I am not aware. In deep sleep state, Atma is not aware of himself, not of anything, so he is not there. The Indra the equation. Therefore, the right equation as we told him. So, in a very systematic, although we may feel it's like Deshi, the way things are going on, rustic way of the Akhyayika is proceeding. But it's proceeding in a very systematic manner. Ashariram vav santam na priya priya sprashataha. The priya and apriya. Meaning the world cannot affect this person who is a sharira. Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha sukheshu vigitaspruha vitaraga bhayakrodha stitadi munihi uchyate. Stitadi, stitaprajna, the wise person. Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha. In what is considered dukkha or a painful situation, his mind does not get disturbed. Sukheshu vigitaspruha. What is called sukha? So priya. In a priya doesn't get disturbed. What is called priya, he doesn't get tempted. So what is desirable tempts me, and undesirable, repels me. So either I am repelled or I am tempted. Both ways I am off my center. Is it not so? I can't be at peace. I am not myself. So wise person is described as one who is not tempted by what appears to be source of happiness and is not repelled by what appears to be source of pain. Again, priya, apriya. Na priya priya sprashataha. So, Bhagavad Gita describes this Sthita Prajna as a shariraha who is not affected by priya and apriya. So, this brought up some discussions. Nanayadi priyamapi ashiram na sprushati. It's all right that apriya does not touch the Atma. But you say that Priya and Apriya, both of them do not touch the Atma, Sharira Atma. What's wrong with Priya? It's alright, Apriya, unpleasant, does not touch me. When I know I am not the body, what's wrong with Priya, the pleasant one touching me? Why do you reject that also? So that is what Indra wants. So, yadi priyamapi ashari nasprusyati iti, then that is what Indra thought in deep sleep state, that not only apriya, priya also does not touch the sleeping person. So is not that. What's the use of that existence? Suppose I come to gain knowledge of the Atma, that I am not touched by good and bad, priya, desirable, undesirable. But I want to be touched by desirable. I want desirable things in life. So undesirable I don't want to be bothered with. But why do you also deny the desirable in case of Atma? Isn't it? The desirable is desirable, is it not? So I am quite alright by having a vairagya, or dispassion towards what is not desirable. But towards desirable also, do you want me to be dispassionate? Is it fair that Vedanta says that you should not desire desirable also? Everybody wants desirable in life. The answer is that the desirable and undesirable, in Bhashyakara's traditional words. So, dharma, karyayoho, desirable is the result of the dharma or punya karma, undesirable is the result of papa karma. So, dharma and adharma, dharma creates desirable, adharma creates undesirable. So, both are products. Meaning what? Both are impermanent. Both are subject to coming and going. Both are incident. Agama, payana, anityaha, tam stitikshasva bharata. That's why Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, here Arjuna, whenever you interact with the world, with your sense organs, you'll have some experience which will cause pleasure, pains, happiness, unhappiness, heat, cold. Don't get attracted or rejected by anybody. Let them come and go. But I like how warm. Let it go. But I like pleasant, let that also go. If you like pleasant, unpleasant, it's like, you'll be stuck with unpleasant, because both of them come together. It's like the two sides of a coin. So Vairagya requires us to be indifferent even to the pleasant. That doesn't sound fair, is it not so? That I should not want unpleasant is quite alright, but that I should not even desire the pleasant. Because pleasant also is the result of karma. And what is the result of karma is also impermanent. And not only impermanent, unpredictable. Impermanent, unpredictable. And really speaking, that happiness contains within its core unhappiness. When I perform good action, I get a desirable thing and I enjoy it. But that enjoyment of a desirable object has in its potential the pain also, because when that thing goes away, Swami, just 3 days you'll go away. Oh, the tour has come to an end. I was so looking for this dinner, bhandara, khatam ho gaya, pura ho gaya. Every good thing also has a beginning and an end. A beginning creates a lot of excitement, and you will also create the opposite. So when is the next bhandara? In Rushikesh, sadhus generally talk of bhandaras. With Dayananda ashram now they don't have to worry, because every day there is a bhandara. So, but not in life. In life, every day bhandara is not there. Being Priya is not all the time. Priya and Apriya are like two sides of coin. Therefore, Vedanta teaches that we must become indifferent to Priya also, to desire also. Because desire also is born of some contact. And desirable also is my projection more than the nature of an object. I call this object desirable because it is useful to me. If by any chance I am doing something that just gets released from my hand and strikes somebody because very undesirable to that person. Sometimes when you play, things do happen. I take care. So what is desirable from one standpoint can be undesirable from another standpoint. In fact, I myself may not care for that. I mean, in Gujarat we love this idli and dosa, and so they went Anayakatya ashram for a 3-year course. After this person came and said, 6 months don't talk about idli to me, 6 months. Young, we enjoyed going to the wedding parties because there is a wedding season. So often there is a feast in the morning, in the evening. And after 4 days, my mummy, I want to eat khichdi. Got fed up with the sweets. So even the Priya also ultimately turns to be is a potential of turning to Priya, because it is Priya because of your mindset. Now, the object doesn't have anything inherent in it that it is desirable. It becomes desirable when I have a given mindset. That very same thing can become undesirable in a different mindset. Is it not so? Don't bother me right now. Leave me alone. Anyway, so this is how, therefore, Priya, Vedanta desires that we should become indifferent to, for Vairagya, for both Priya, Apriya as well as Priya. Because both are products of karma. Both of them appear to come from outside. And therefore there is a Brahma. So when I enjoy an object, I have a delusion that the happiness is coming from there. So I always look out, and therefore my mind always will be looking out. And so I am denied where the happiness is. If Atma is devoid of Priya and Apriya, pleasant, unpleasant, then what is Atma? Is Atma dull? You see, now this is just a general thing here. The idea, the word is Purushartha. What is it that people desire? People desire happiness. And therefore they desire those objects which give them happiness. So if Priya and Apriya both are to be given up, then what is left in life to look forward to? Is anything left? Says yes, there is Atma. So this Priya do not in any way touch Atma, do not affect Atma. No, Purushasya Priyasya. But people always want to experience happiness. Do you know that? We have this orientation that we want to experience happiness. Puja Swami used to often quote, this statement, that I want to taste sugar, I do not want to become sugar. You must have heard. Some people say, I want to taste sugar. I don't want to become sugar. If I become sugar, how can I taste sugar? So I want to enjoy happiness. They say, but you want happiness. I may be happy. How can I enjoy myself? Enjoyment requires a duality of the enjoyer and enjoyed. And if Atma is of the nature of Ananda or happiness because of Vijnanam, Anandam, Brahma, Yogi Bhuma, Tat Sukham, etc. Even if Atma or I is Ananda, how can I become the object of my experience? I cannot split myself into the Bhokta and Bhogya, the experience and experience, when it comes to Ananda. So how can I experience myself? Whatever I experience is going to be different from me. So then this Atma can become the Purushartha, meaning that I am looking for happiness in my life. I want to experience happiness in my life. That's the reason why Sarve Lokaha, Sarve Kamascha, that all these worlds and all the objects became attractive to both Asuras and Devas so that they can enjoy them. So they thought that by this knowledge we'll be able to attain all the worlds and all the kamas, all the desirable objects, and that is how happiness will be there. So that is Purushartha. Now you say Atma is of the nature of Ananda. Everything else is Priya doesn't contain any Ananda. But then how can Atma be experienced? I cannot experience myself, therefore Atma cannot be experienced. If Atma cannot be experienced, how can it become the desirable object? How can it become an Purushartha? Meaning, how can it be something that I desire to achieve? Because I want to experience happiness. That's the orientation Indra has. And therefore he was dissatisfied with deep sleep state. Otherwise, Indra had thought about deep sleep state, what there is the Ananda. This is what we have seen. What is there in deep sleep state? You know why? Because we say that when you fast asleep, at that time there is no identification. This body, gross body, subtle body, everything merges into its cause. There is no experiencer, no experienced in the deep sleep state. So it's called nirvikalpa, without the vikalpa, the duality of the bhokta, bhogya, experience and experienced. Then what is that? There is Ananda. In Ananda there is no experience, no experienced. But I want to experience things. So how can Atma become the Purushartha, the end I am seeking? Even if I am Ananda, what does it mean? I can't experience myself. So how, I won't be able to experience Ananda. Ananda is my nature, but then I cannot experience myself because there cannot be the split of the experience or experience in one entity. Therefore, I cannot become object of my experience. In that case, I or Atma cannot become the Purushartha, cannot be the end I am seeking. I am seeking all those worlds and those kamas. And when I attain them, I will be happy. So that is why Indra thought that in deep sleep there is nothing. In fact, what is in deep sleep is absence of all limitation. And what is Ananda, that is what is in deep sleep state. But since Indra was always looking for something to be experienced, he finds there is nothing to experience there. Therefore, there is, you vinashameva, you are gone as though. So that did not interest Indra. Indra wanted, so from his statement looks like he is looking for happiness that can be experienced. But Priya and Apriya you can experience. If you give up both of them, all that is left is you. See, this is a way to bring it to you, by the way. Upanishad had its own way. Upanishad is its own way of bringing you to yourself because you are looking for Brahma. Brahma is different from the known and unknown. Here you are looking for Brahma. Brahma is different from Priya and Apriya. That Priya, Apriya, both of them together excludes all the Anatma. So if Priya and Priya is not Brahman, then what is Brahman? What is left after Priya is the self. But then self I can't experience. So how can Indra's desire of enjoying all the worlds and all the objects can be satisfied? By knowledge. Even though Indra wanted to enjoy these things, but Prajapati does not tell him that. Prajapati says, you are the Atma of everything. You enjoy everything by virtue of being Atma. So enjoy all the worlds and all the lokas by virtue of being Atma, meaning that Indra recognizes that you already attained them. One thing that is attained is Atma. If then the whole world, I am the self of the whole world, that means that the whole world also is attained. What are you saying, Swamiji? Attain the whole world? Vedanta says it is attainment of already attained. Of the world, sarvamsha lokan, sarvamsha kaman, all the lokas, all the kamas is what Indra and Asuras are looking for. And they want to achieve them, accomplish them, acquire them. And you can't acquire. You can't acquire all the worlds. You can't acquire all the objects. But there is a desire to enjoy all of them. The only way to enjoy is to recognize that you already have them. You already are. You are the Atma of them and they are already acquired. Where are they acquired, Swamiji? How did they acquire the whole world? How can you acquire the whole world? First give up the idea of acquirer. That I want to acquire. Want to acquire, you want to enjoy, therefore you remain an enjoyer. You drop that also. The very idea of acquiring denies you what is already acquired. The 10th man is denied because he is searching for the 10th man. So I want to acquire all worlds, I want to acquire all the objects, I want to acquire the world, I want to acquire this, that and so forth. And that very notion on my part that I want to acquire deprives me of what is already acquired. Vedanta teaches the acquirement of what is already acquired. Attainment of what is already attained. Vedanta says everything is already attained. Don't tell me, Swami, that's all good to say. You're just saying that to make me feel good. No? Well, I am not acquired, but who are you? Asharinam bhava santam. The I, if by I you mean the ego, the individual self, and then you think that you are confined to this body, certainly things are not acquired. Certainly things that outside the body is different from you, and they are not acquired, we admit. But you are the subject. You are the awarer. You are aware of the body also, so body also is an awareness. That means body is not the dividing line between you and the objects. And whatever dividing line you see also is within your awareness. And therefore, everything is included in awareness. Awareness eliminates everything. And therefore, the self eliminates everything. Self pervades everything. Self acquires everything. So, what is required is not to acquire. What is required is to drop your notion of who you are. That you are a limited entity. Who told you that? I'm Indra. Who says that? I am saying that. On what basis do you say that? This is Indra. But this is body. Is it you? So that is how the Atma, Anatma, Viveka, by that is the gross body, subtle body, causal body, all of them are. So the one that is in all the three states, and that is Adhisthana of all the three states. The waker, the dreamer, the deep sleeper, one is all of them. And that is you. So therefore, in order to acquire everything, not that we to acquire things, we have to change our perception of ourselves. So Vedanta teaches how we have to change our perception of ourselves. Our perception of ourselves is wrong. That I am a desirer, I am an acquirer, I am a limited being. You begin from there. Who told you that? I am telling. On what basis are you saying? So I experience that I am limited. How can you experience? You experience limited alright, but how can you say what you are experiencing is you? Limited you are experiencing. How do you say it is you? I know I am limited. I experience limitedness. I experience bondage. I experience pain. Hey, whatever you experience is going to be, you are different from what you experience. Otherwise you can't experience. So that is how, just calm down. Calm down, and also now don't insist upon your desire, fulfilling desire that you must acquire everything. You want to enjoy everything, is it not so? Yeah. But that you can enjoy everything by acquiring everything, that thing you give up. That something needs to be acquired, that is not so, recognize it's already acquired. When your notion or your perception of self changes, you find that everything is in you. So that is how matta anyani lokaha kamacha sarve matta anyahamesham swami iti. What Indra wanted is that all the lokas are different from me, all the kamas are different from me. I am their Swami, I want to be their Swami. Because Indra wants to be Swami, wants to be master. That is what Indra wants, but Prajapati doesn't give him that. Indra wants something, but Prajapati gives him something else. Indra wants, I want to be Swami of all of them. Prajapati says, no. You are the Atma of all of them. By virtue of being Atma, you are the Swami. See that fact. So this is how, not to Rajya Praptivat Anyatvena, like a king acquires a kingdom. No, that's not you to acquire this thing. Recognize that it's already acquired. So this is the Vedantic teaching. What you are seeking is already acquired. All that you need to do is to give up that seeker. Give up the seeker, you remain you, free from the seeker, free from seeking. So this is how ashariram vavasantam na priya preyas prasada. Asharira means one who has given up identification. Sharira means with all sharira, with the mind, desires, identification, all of that. So there is, Indra never realized there is an asharira atma. Take for granted I am Indra, but Indra is a description of a sharira, of a personality. Ashariram vavasantam. So that's how Indra is invited to look at his own self and recognize that Indrattva also is only temporary. Is also upadikam, is also something incidental, something that comes and goes, but there is something that is permanent that you are. And therefore, stop identifying with the impermanent. Identify with what you are. So this is how the teaching in the ChandogyaUpanishad of this Adhyaya took place. There are a couple of more passages we'll see and proceed further. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.